Welcome back to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt, and today is 1 Ounce Wednesday. On 1 Ounce Wednesday, we take a sample that we've received from a friend or a viewer or a patron or a distiller or a non-distilling producer or a non-producing producer or a non-distilling dispuser. And we take those samples, we pour them into a glass, we swirl them, we nose them, we taste them, we close our eyes and shake them, and then we review its ass. Today's 1 Ounce Wednesday is brought to us by Mr. Bill Kavanaugh. And thanks to Bill, today we are reviewing Angel's Envy, iced cider finished rye whiskey. America. While this iced baby gets a little bit of air, let me tell you about today's video sponsor, IntoTheAM.com. IntoTheAM.com is an online shop for all the best clothing on the planet, and maybe even beyond. They have the best tees, including graphic tees like this, basic tees with nothing on them, underpants, jackets, long sleeve tees, sweatshirts, bomber jackets, hats, and so much more. If you have a sculpted body or a sloppy body or any body in between, Into the AM will cover that baby clean. If you're looking for some new Into the AM clothing, or if you've never shopped IntoTheAM.com before, head on over to their Labor Day sale. September 1st through the 5th, you're gonna save some extra cash. And if that extra savings wasn't enough, click on my link in the description box below, use code ADHD10 at checkout, and save yourself an additional 10%. Now that we've talked about the softest clothing to ever drape my nipples, let's talk about something that we're about to sipple. Angel's Envy Ice Cider Finished Rye. Ladies and gentlemen, please start your engines. I'm gonna flood it. Look at it go. While I'm giving this icy B and SJ, let's go ahead and talk about Angel's Envy for a second and my thoughts. Angel's Envy Bourbon, not a fan. Angel's Envy Rye, which is finished in the rum casks, not a fan. My nickname back in kindergarten was Little Debbie. But even that Angel's Envy Rye finished in rum is too sweet for me. Angel's Envy Single Barrel Bourbon? Love them. Friggin' love them. Angel's Envy Cask Strength Bourbon? Love it. Friggin' love it. So seemingly the higher the proof, the higher I approve. This baby rings in at 107. It is their rye whiskey finished in iced cider barrels for 1 year. What is iced cider, Matt? Glad you asked, Matt. Let me tell you. What is iced cider?
According to Wikipedia, iced cider is the cider equivalent of ice wine, a fermented beverage made from the juice of frozen apples.
From what I remember, iced cider is like ice wine made from fermented apples. What else do I know about it? The use of frozen apples concentrates the natural sugars in the apples, resulting in a higher alcohol content than ciders made with traditional methods. That's just based off of memory. Friggin' apples. Let's go in for a nose, I suppose. Ooh. Certainly rye whiskey. That is a rye, jumping rye out of the glass. Cinnamons and rye spice. Like a sprouted grain rye toast. If you put butter, sugar, and cinnamon on it. It's like you just made cinnamon toast with rye bread. I'm looking for apples on the nose because all the pictures I've seen of this bottle from like the marketing department, the bottle is just surrounded by bags of apples. So I would imagine this has to smell like apples. I'm just not finding apples. A little brown sugar. Brown sugar for sure. It smells warm and toasty and I like that. It does smell kind of Christmassy. Like this would be a rye whiskey I would like to have around the holidays. If you like a rye forward rye whiskey with a twist, then you will probably enjoy the smell of this. Down the hatch. Ooh. 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 I like. First sip coming in hot. First sip of whiskey for the day. Kind of digging it. Kind of digging that first sip. But, like I've said in the past, we have to ignore that first sip because first sip doesn't count. So we have to forget about the first sip. But at the same time, we do have to remember that we took the first sip. Otherwise, we'll think our second sip was our first sip, and then we'll have to ignore that one too. And then, snowball effect, guess what, Schlammered? You ran out of whiskey and you didn't even taste anything. Technically. Can't give the first sip too much credit. So we must discredit it and then give the second sip extra credit. Very cinnamony. I think I'm actually getting, it might be power of suggestion, but I think there is a bit of apple there, like a cinnamon apple rye. I like that. I'm pretty sure that ice cider cask really influenced this rye whiskey nicely. I do like this. This is the best rye I've had out of Angel's Envy, which isn't saying much, but it's saying a lot because I like it. So that's good. But the only other rye I've had from them is basically what I would consider to be sweet trash in the kindest of ways. I know there are fans out there of Angel's Envy rye finished in rum casks, but even the worst of criminals get love letters in prison from people outside who admire them. I'm not saying that if you enjoy Angel's Envy rye finished in rum barrels that you're wrong. Basically just calling you crazy. It's fair. Where was I? I like it a lot. It's sweet. The apple cinnamon does come through on the palate. Angel's Envy, ice cider finished rye whiskey, receives a score from me tonight of 7.9. 7.9. It's a very good rye whiskey. I don't consider it to be great. It's very, very good. It's very, 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 very good. If you love rye whiskeys and you like a little bit of a sweeter twist to it, you would love this. You'll absolutely love it. I wish I had a bottle of it because I would love to have some of this around the holiday time, around Christmas, around winter, around snow and ice. A little ice wine finished rye would be nice. But for the price of it, no way, Jack. You can keep it. I'm thinking of a different grading scale. Within this month, within September, guess what's going to happen? New grading scale. New rating system from me. I'm sick of giving a numerical score. Because it's impossible for me to, it's just too hard and not exactly precise. So we're gonna revamp the grading scale, the old scoring system, and it's gonna be better than ever. It's gonna make sense, and I will be happy with it. And half of you will, and half of you won't. And then like the remaining couple percent that I didn't factor in will be pissed because you're pissed about everything. And if that's you, then make sure to hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe, leave a comment below. Are you a fan of Angel's Envy, yes or no? My name is Matt, this is ADHD Whiskey, and like I always say, keep your head in the clouds, but your mind on car alarms. Because there's one going off right now. Car alarm going off in the middle of my video. Knock it off. Turn it off. Come on. Car alarms don't work. Car alarms do not work. Now they're just a nuisance. Right? I mean, listen. Finally stopped. Somebody was probably upstairs taking an afternoon nap, heard their car alarm going off, and they were like, why is that going off? Weird. And they just silenced it. Car alarms don't work anymore. It's like the car alarm is basically the boy who called wolf. Am I right? No one looks outside to see what's happening if a car alarm's going off. You could have an entire parking lot full of cars with car alarms going off. And 3 crazy buggers with crowbars stealing everything in sight. But you know what? Nobody would care. Nobody would mind. You know what they would do? Just get annoyed with the car alarms. Even if it was their own car. They'd just be like, would you shut that thing off? Shut it off. There needs to be a better way. There needs to be like a car alarm that's just like to annoy everybody, which is what the car alarm is now, and then a different alarm that's like, whoa, actually something happening here. Actually, just to let you know, everybody, this isn't good and you should look outside. Don't you silence me. I'm actually making noise for a reason. It's not because the neighbor kid had two MTX 10-inch subwoofers in the trunk of his Ford Escort driving 15 miles an hour down a side street with his volume at 84. Not a single car alarm on the planet likes that. But guess what? Chill out. They're just subwoofers, buddy. Just a little trunk rattle. No need to throw a beeping fit over it.